Hey, welcome back. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining the channel. Hope you're all well. Today on the bench I have a Denon. It's a DRA-545R. This is one of my scores I found at a Goodwill. I was at a Goodwill once and I found this and an Akai, a really old Akai CD player. So I picked this one up. It was only $10. Wow, it's a Denon. It's $10. So can't go wrong, right? And they put sticker all over everything. It's made a mess of the display. But this thing is gross. It's completely filthy. It's disgusting. Look at this. The layers of dust and grime. Yeah, it needs a good clean. It's filthy. This is an early AV receiver, believe it or not. Just because it has the one video input and nothing more. SLDC, signal level divided construction. I don't know what that's kind of marketing wank, I think. I don't think that has anything to do with anything technical. It's just something to press use. It's a precision audio component. I have had this on my desk for the last month and a half and listening to it, and it sounds fantastic. I love the way this thing sounds. But it does have issues. Okay, so yeah, first issue is it's how filthy it is, and it's all scratched up here. We're gonna have to do something about the scratches and the sticker residue. Now, as far as I noticed, none of the pots are scratchy, so that's a good thing, and none of the switches. Well, this doesn't have switches for your inputs. It has soft touch controls, and it has all the electronic switching, so there's no mechanical switching for your inputs, your tape loops, which is another good thing, because number one cause of scratchy channels and dropouts is your switches, right? And number two is your pots. But yeah, but the problem this does have is when you first switch it on, either one channel or the other won't be working until you turn it up a bit, and then it kicks in, and that's a classic dirty relay symptom. So we're probably gonna have to go in, clean the relay, clean the filth out of this. Look how bad it is on the back. It's just got nasty, gross layers of dust, and it stinks too. It's got that old cigarette smell, stink. Yeah, but it is a nice, I think this will clean up really nice, and it's a great sounding receiver just as it is. I didn't touch it. I haven't even opened it. I didn't do anything to it. I just plugged it in and started using it, and I was really impressed with the sound quality. It's pretty good. It's not the top of the line, best I've ever heard kind of thing, but it is really good. So yeah, I want to do some work on this, clean this up. So let's have a look inside. Just before we open up, let's have a look at it. It's got a Ka-chunk power switch. This does have remote capability. I didn't get the remote with it, but if you leave it on standby, and then you can shut it off with remote. Otherwise you could just kill the power. It's got a display here. I can't even see half of it. It's got the sticker. Yeah, $10 sticker on here. Yes, I did pay $10 for it, surprisingly. So phones, phono jack for your headphones, AB speaker switches, bass, treble, and balance, and it has this odd variable loudness control that when you turn it fully clockwise it says flat, and then you can turn it down and it kind of, I don't know, it colors the sound, so I don't really like it or use it. I don't even know what its purpose is. I don't know what its intention was, but somebody had an idea of putting a variable loudness in. I'm not a big fan of variable loudnesses. I'm not a fan of loudness switches, period, because I listen to my music with my tone controls completely flat and no loudness, and that's the only way I do it. It seems that it's the only way I can tolerate music. It's got two tape loops, tape 1, tape 2. It's got video input, tuner input. Tuner's obviously the built-in tuner. CD input, and it does have a phono input, believe it or not, probably for a moving magnet. tuning up down and your band, and then you have all your memory pre-selects here, and a big fat volume knob. And it has a bass EQ switch on off. I don't know what that is either. Bass EQ. That's probably like another name for a loudness switch. Let's have a look at the back. Yeah, so you got your tuner inputs, pretty standard affair. Video input, it's all composite. So this is pretty dated stuff. Pretty old school. This is probably one of the first AV receivers Denon made. Got phono input, CD, video input, and then you have 2 tape loops and your preamp out, which is kind of nice. Can run another amplifier. And 2 sets of speakers. Says here tape remote control, so I guess they have a special cable that you can connect to a Denon tape deck, and you can use the system remote to control the tape deck as well. And then 2 courtesy outlets. Alright, let's open it up. Yeah, lid's not too bad, but look at, behold all the filth. Yeah, this is gross. All discreet, which is nice. I like that. A little power supply section back here. It's your video board, tuner board, and then your main board down below. It's pretty sparse, not much to it. And then it probably has a board on the front for the display. Yeah, it does. It has a board on the front here for all the input switching and display. So it's just a filthy. And I wish you smell aroma vision, you could smell how this thing stinks. Not a very powerful unit. I can't remember what the spec is on this. Have to look it up. I can't remember. We'll measure it when we're done. But look at the filth. So I guess first step, I'll take this out, blow out with compressed air, get it as clean as I can with the compressor, and then we'll step back in. I'll pull the bottom off and show you that first. Okay, so it's got like a 2/3 removable bottom. Take the screws out. Gives you full access to the bottom of the main PCB board. Get the filth continues underneath. Clean that as well. And what do we see? Not too much. The main printed circuit board. I don't see anything cracking. Well, I'll go through and we'll inspect it for cracks. I don't see. Yeah, there's probably some crack solders here and there. But for the most part, the amplifier was working great. No crackles, no pops, no weird stuff going on as it warmed up or cooled off. Yeah. Alright, so let's get this outside and blow the dust out of it. So I'm going for the full disassemble here because it stinks so bad. I'm going to be taking things apart and cleaning them independently. So what I did is I just removed the video board. 2 screws holds that in. And I removed that because there's a power connector in here I need to access and it's in the way. And this is for the front panel. And then I removed the tuner board from the back here. It's 3 screws and out that comes, just because the same reason I had another connector under here I need to disconnect. So it's very easy to service. It's only like a matter of taking out a few screws and then everything comes apart. And I'm just going to pull off the front panel if I can. Let me reposition the camera. Let's pull this apart. It should come right out without any troubles. There was a nut, I believe, on this one and this one. I don't see anything holding it back to the main board. Speaker switches are kind of holding here. Hang on. Well, let's just try pulling it back. Something is holding here. I'm not seeing it. Just don't want to force anything. Let's remove this. Let's remove this volume control. It's plugged into the main board. It's got a motor on it. So let's pull. There we go. There's our volume control board. Maybe that's holding me back. No, it's still. Oh, I see some. Okay, I see what's going on here. There's a. For the potentiometers, there's 2 screws. And I think I need to remove the outer aluminum first, if it'll allow me. I don't see any other screws. They're not glued together. There we go. These little tabs. 4 tabs on the top, 3. Just push them down and then that releases the aluminum. Or will it? Maybe this needs to come out. No. There we go. Probably have the same tabs on the bottom. Let me see. No, it should come out. There we go. Okay. There. Now it should reveal 2 hidden screws here. That's what's holding it all on. And mainly I just want to take this apart to clean it. That's it. I want to clean all this filth out of the controls. So let's pull these 2 screws out. There's 2 screws here as well. To hold the speaker switches in place. The speaker switches have no snap connectors or plug-in connectors, so they're soldered in, so you'd have to remove these 2 screws if you want to remove the plastic front. There's 1, 2, and we can also remove the clip for the headphone. There. All comes off as a unit. Take this and service this separately. Alright, we're in. So it's just a matter of cleaning pots, switches, or remove this relay to clean it. I'm going to check ESR on all these caps. I don't think I'm going to find anything bad on the cap department. So, and then a matter of checking solder connections on some of these transistors and connectors, and then cleaning. That's pretty much it. It's going to be a clean. This job's going to be mostly cleaning. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, rookie mistake. When I was opening this relay to clean it, I made a fatal error. What I did is I was prying underneath the, trying to get the lid to disengage from this catch. And on this side, my screwdriver slipped and I stabbed the coil. And when you stab the coil, that's the end of the coil. The windings are shot. So let me check here with my ohm meter. And the coil is open. So this relay is dead now. So it's a shame because I could have just cleaned it up and it would have been good. It's a nice relay too. It's got 2 sets of contacts for each connection here. Let me show you here. It's not a cheap relay. It's a nice one. You have your one contact that goes this way. It's laying horizontal, and then you have 2 vertical contacts on each leaf, and but no more. I'll have to get another one. I'm pretty sure I have something around here. If I do not, I'll just have to buy one. Okay, I don't know, you can see these deep scratches here on the front in the display. You have to sand these out. They're quite intense. I don't know, somebody had a little microaggression here, it looks like. But yeah, it's all, I'll polish this. What I'll do is I'll mask over this computer multifunction display thing, and then I don't care about the remote sensor. I'll just polish all this and get it looking good again. Just for the sake of education here, let's repair this relay. Now what happened was I stabbed it with this little screwdriver. It's quite sharp, and I stabbed it when I was trying to pry off the lid, and actually it stabbed right here. You can see there's a little mark here, a little shiny spot. There's bare copper there, and that's where the screwdriver went in and stabbed it. So what I've done is I've looked at the wiring of this, and you can see one of the copper windings goes under the coil. That would be the innermost winding, and then there's another one here on the outside that wraps around the outside, and this is the one I cut. So I cut it so that I have about 1/2 inch of free magnet wire here. You can see that it's pretty fine. It's finer than a hair. About 1/2 inch of free magnet wire there, and then you just lay it down and get it out of the way. Now you're going to have a free end on the winding, and I just started unwinding it here a bit, and you can see it. But let's fix this. Just like, for example, let's say you can't find another relay, or you can't source one. So what do? Well, this is kind of unique. This is a 24-volt relay, and I do have 12-volt relays in my stock right now. I would have to order a new 24-volt relay, but instead of ordering it, waiting for it to arrive and all that, the cost, I'm just going to fix it. Plus you guys get to see how it's done. So let's just see how this works. We got your armature goes through the electromagnet and then comes around out the back here and goes up to the top, and then you have this plate that's on a hinge, and when you energize the coil, this pulls in and that makes the contact. That's how it works. So we're just going to pull this thing off. We're going to pull back on the spring, slip my screwdriver between the gap, and just pull out this entire assembly. If it'll cooperate. There we go. Get that out of the way because it's just in our way. So now we got full access to the coil. We have a gap here that we can feed our wire through, and we can unwind this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unwind it until it comes to the break. So let's pull this out. I'll pause the camera because it's wound in a zigzag pattern, right? It goes across here. The machine winds it like this, and it's done at a high speed too, so there's going to be quite a few turns on here that I'm going to have to remove. This won't really change the characteristics of the coil that much. It'll slightly be less resistance, but the current draw shouldn't change that much. Okay, so I gotta hit a brake here, and there's a free end, so let's pull this free end out. Okay, I think let me check this with I'm not sure if I'm past the brake or not. So how to test it? Get your soldering iron, some solder, and tin the free end. When you tin it, it automatically cleans off the varnish on the wire. It makes it conductive. And then we're going to get our ohmmeter out, and we're going to see if we have continuity. So I need to get continuity between this terminal and this wire, and we have no continuity yet. Okay, so we're just going to keep unwinding and keep unwinding until I hit the next break in the wire, and then I'll do the same procedure. I'll tin the end and then I'll check again. Okay, we're getting close to the ground zero again. Here we go. We're going to go by it, and if the wire pops off, and it did, there. Okay, so there was another cut there. Alright, so I'll have to fish out the end now. Just get this out of the way so it doesn't confuse us and throw us off track. I think I've removed about 4 layers so far. 4 or 5 layers. Okay. So, where's my end? It's down here somewhere. And I can see where the damage is. So I'll just take a needle and fish around here for a loose end. There it is. It popped up. Now I can just grab it. I can see it. And pull it up. Okay, let's tin this end. Get one more wrap off there. Let's tin this end. Ohmmeter. Okay, let's flip this over. Check from pin. To here. Oh, look, we got continuity now. At 1 point. It's jumping around. I have a good connection here. Why is it jumping around? So we got about 1,000 ohms. Okay, that's good. Let's make our repair there. So, what do we do for a repair? Well, it's pretty simple. Let me wind some of this back on, so we don't need all that length. So we have our 2 free ends. All we really need to do is twist them together. You have to be careful. You flex this wire too much, it's going to snap off. It's very delicate. It doesn't take much flexing. Okay, so I have a twist there. Let's just solder this. Good. Cut off the excess. Let's keep it in frame. I have to remember to keep it in frame because I screw that up so often. Okay, there's our repair. Let's just get a little tape and we'll cover that up. Okay. Okay, so actually I need 2 pieces, so let's cut this piece in half. Let's lay one down on the coil first. And then put our splice down and lay another one over top. Basically what you just want to secure the wires so they're not flopping in the wind. Because when they're flopping in the wind they're going to break. If any vibration, or we got a loose winding here, but that's not a big deal. It should be protected. Okay, so we put our thing back, whatever it's called, goes in behind the spring, right there, everything's normal. Let's check our coil resistance one more time. Still got 1,000 ohms. Good. Now, the ultimate test, we get 24 volts DC on our power supply. Let's set this up. And it should work. There we go. We're golden. We're drawing 30 milliamps at 24 volts, which is probably pretty normal for this coil. I don't think we removed enough to make a change in the circuit or the current draw. If we removed half of that coil, then obviously we'd be turning it into a 12 volt relay. But since we only removed probably maybe 2% of those windings or less, I don't think there's going to be any change in this. It's just going to work fine. Okay, so now I'll just clean the contacts, put the lid back on, and leave it alone. Okay, guys, let's do the clean the contacts. These contacts are, they actually wipe against each other when they close. As they make contact, and then as the armature closes, it actually pulls them down a little bit, and it makes a little bit of a wiping action. That's supposed to keep the contacts clean, but I was looking at them with a magnifier, and they are all black. So they're obviously silver contacts, a lot of oxidation on them. So let's clean them up. Let's do the old paper trick. Paper is mildly abrasive. Get some neutral contact cleaner. Just going to soak this paper down and put it in the contacts, close them, and drag. And you can see that black streak. You can see it on both sides. The more pressure you can get on this while you drag the paper, the better. Maybe close them by hand and really put the pressure on. You can see the black line that comes out. Do this a few times. That'll polish up the contacts. Yeah, there's quite a bit of dirt on there. Well, it's not dirt, it's oxidation actually. Okay. Snap the cover back on. There is a way it goes. This little smaller compartment here, can't see, there's a smaller compartment here that goes for the contacts. Okay, test it one more time. Before we solder it in, it's all good. you know what, we could even check contact resistance. Just before we solder it in, I'm going to check contact resistance. So let's hook up my bridge and let's give it some juice. And I got 12 milliohms on that set of contacts. And it's consistent. Oops. Scared me. Let's try this set of contacts. And this one's 12 milliohms as well. So they're both equal. They're both low. They're both consistent when I click it on and off. So this relay is good to go back in. And that's how you do it. It cost us a penny. So I removed the back plate to clean it, because there's really no other way to clean this unless you just remove it, and then you can get a uniform clean. It looks very nice now. You can see it. It was pretty gross. Here's the rag from cleaning it. This thing's just saturated with nicotine glaze everywhere, and then you can clean the inside too, right? And then that gets rid of a lot of the smell and stench. But I was looking at these sorry, I was looking at these speaker connectors, and there's quite a few of them cracked, you know, because there's a flex and stress between the board and the back panel. And I'm just going to remove these assemblies, both of them, and I'm just going to give them an ultrasonic cleaning, because if you look at the connectors, they're all pretty gross and dirty. So the best thing for that is an ultrasonic bath, and then clean and dry them off. So I'm going to do that next. Getting there. There's a lot of what I did is I recapped the power amplifier and the power supply, only because caps I was pulling out had high ESR, and yeah, there's quite a few of them had a high ESR. So those got recapped, even though probably didn't need it, because you know, the unit sounded great before, but we'll see how it sounds after too. So alright, so we are ready to do our test. So everything's back together again, connected I believe. I don't think I left anything out. Well, we'll find out once we turn it on. So initial power on. You got no relay click. Let's try tuner. Ah, there's our relay click. Took its sweet time. Okay, so we are on AM, I believe. Do we have an AM antenna? No, we don't. Not a bar antenna, so let's try tuning up. Okay.
The tourism industry.
So with an antenna, the AM works. Let's try FM. Let me put a wire on here. Okay, let's try FM. I got no right channel. Clip lead came off.
Afternoon at the Opera, starting at 1:30. And then you come over.
It seems to be doing okay. It just needs a proper antenna. It doesn't have one. I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm getting flooded with interference here. Okay, I think putting the cover on will help, and having an antenna will help immensely too. So I'm just going to say that the FM's fine, doesn't need anything. So let's go on to power test. Let's go to CD. Should have our tone, which is good. Okay. Phono stage. All right. So what I need and what I forgot is I need to set up the second camera. So let's do that and get a take on the scope. All right, got it wired in with the camera, second camera. Let's turn off the speakers, turn on the dummy load. Let's put this on. Okay, so we should start seeing something on the scope. And we are. Yeah, let's take this up. Okay, adjust the range here. And let's go back up again. Take it to clipping. Right there. Back it off a bit. And there's our output is 24 volts, 24.05 volts. That's a lot. We're consuming 278, 279 watts. This thing has a lot of power. I didn't expect it to be this high. I was expecting like a 40 watt amplifier. But yeah, this thing. Let's turn it up and let it cook for a while. Let's see how it does. Nice thing is, with all that cleaning I did inside here, it doesn't stink so bad anymore. I didn't clean everything, like I didn't clean the tuner, didn't clean the main board, but pretty much everything else that was removed was cleaned, and it doesn't stink as bad as it did. This thing's really kind of impressing me right now. I wasn't quite expecting to see that kind of power output, which is it's a pleasant surprise. For 10 bucks, it's a good receiver. I like this. This might be one of my daily drivers. I don't know if it might be worth hunting up the remote for it. Yeah, this thing's doing pretty good. Okay, let's do a little bit of frequency response. Let's put her right about here. Let's try on the low end. Okay, we got 10 hertz there. So let's put this up. Getting distortion there. Let's keep the level right about here. Let's crank it up. So yeah, about 10 hertz it drops off, but 20 hertz, 30, 40, it's flat. Okay, let's do high end. Okay, we're at 7 kilohertz. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20, 25. It's starting to drop off. Ever so slightly. 30, 40 kilohertz. It's doing pretty good. Let's do square wave. Here's a 2 kilohertz square wave. Treble control boost, treble cut, center position, bass cut, bass boost. It doesn't have any effect at 2 kilohertz. The variable loudness, this is what the variable loudness does. It seems like it boosts the high frequencies when you turn it down, but when you turn it up so it's flat, it kind of just falls into place. Balance, pots are clean. Bass EQ, if I push it in, has that effect. It's like a bass boost. This bass pot's still a little dirty. Let's increase the frequency. 3 kilohertz, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seems like we're into clipping here. I don't want it that high. Rise and fall time are not the greatest, but I've seen a lot worse. So it's actually doing not too bad at 7 kilohertz. Let's turn this down to 1. So yeah, not the best rise and fall times. I think that's good. I'm going to leave it at that. I think we're done. It's quite hot. And that's quite hot. So overall, nice little receiver. I really like it. It's got a great sound. I'm kind of curious as to how it's going to sound now that I put all new caps in the power supply and power amplifiers. I think it's going to improve it a little bit. Yeah, it's a nice little machine. I like it. If you ever come across one, they're worth picking up. All right, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.